If you are anything like me, I know you've experienced the feeling of a nice warm bed on a Monday morning. How good that feels. How uncertain it feels to get up for the day and know that that warm bed is waiting. Know that sleep is right there. Know that sleep is, you could just go back to bed. It's just right there. Like, you could just go back to bed. You got two nicely folded blankets, covered you all night. They're warm from your body heat, and they're waiting. They're like, you don't have to get up for the day. Just sleep a little bit longer. Like, what's it gonna do? It's waiting right there for you, and you're just like, just staring. You don't know what to do because, that excuse for comfort is always kind of right there. But on the start of this day 4, it's kind of the most powerful thing I can do is get out of bed. Like, I've already accomplished the hardest part of the workout simply by waking up and jumping out of bed and refusing to go back to that warm, comfy bed. I'm trying to take things one part of a day at a time, and so waking up is a very, very powerful part, and it's a very powerful motivator to kind of get things into motion. Like, you're always going to stay stagnant if you can't even have the willpower, can't even have the fight to even get out of bed. Like, that's the hardest part, but you haven't even lifted a finger, done a rep yet. It's not even hard on the body, it's just a mental battle. And the only way you're going to win the physical battles is if you win the mental battles first. You have to have a strong mind if you want to have a strong body. And that's why, when I say I want to help you become a stronger person mentally and physically, usually the saying goes, you need to be sound physically and mentally. But I flip it in the reverse way, because I feel like mentally is the gate that opens, physical excellence, I guess you call it. You have to make sure that you know who you are and know how you are around others and know what your bad days look like and know what your worst moments look like before you can have really good moments of physical triumph, before you can go out and do incredible things in the world. You have to make sure that your mind is sharp, that you're able to perceive, adapt, overcome all those good things. You have to take those days as they come. And so I've already won a mental battle this morning. A decent bit of people around the gym have won the mental battle too. It's a little bit busier than it normally is, but I'm happy. I'm happy to go forward and win that mental battle. And then, the rest of the workout feels easy comparatively, knowing that I've made that first step to get out of bed. And the second step to be in the gym. So now the third step is just a big old chest day, chest and tricep. So let's get that moving. All right. First part, as always, of any chest workout is warming up the triceps. Warming up the triceps to get some weight moving. And so the first weight I have is 62.5 for 12. Very easy, very manageable. So let's see how it goes. Good little bit of weight pulling. Next, I'm going to move the weight up to 165 for a top middle set and then drop it on back down to 62.5. Okay, warmed up the arms a little bit, so I'm a little bit more confident going into second set with this. 65 is definitely going to be kind of an increase in what I've been doing, but I feel like it's a manageable thing. I've been doing 62.5 for a little while now, managing it all 12 reps, so I think it'll just be about getting on the very bottom half of the rep most of the time with 65. It's not going to be about can I control the weight, it's just how deep can I stretch. Okay. Definitely some arm popping around like the 7th or 8th rep, but that means, growing. All right, last set before bench press. Bump back down to the weight that I normally use, and so kind of doing this will be kind of like a cool down. Almost feel like a cool down. I'm still going to be pumping a bunch of weight into my triceps, but it's kind of laddering back down to get me prepared and get my chest ready and isolated to do a warm-up set of bench press, and then after that warm-up set, we're going to do a heavy working set. I think I'm going to try and tap 180 because I've been managing 180 on the Smith machine, and free weights, as long as I really lock in and dig deep with my chest, I actually think it's going to be really manageable, really good stretch. So we'll just see. We'll just take that as it comes. So walk into this and get good deep reps. Whew. All right, I'm happy. I'm ready with that. It'll be a good transition. Okay, 165 is the warm-up reps. Last time I managed it for 9. I think I'm probably going to go for a similar amount of reps this time, just because, I don't know, 9 kind of feels comfortable, and it feels like the in-between between like high rep and normal amount of reps to kind of get me moving. I feel like 10 to 12 reps I almost consider like, well, for machines I consider it normal, but for like free weight stuff kind of like this, or bench work, I feel like it's almost kind of like a high amount of reps, and then high amounts of reps for machines is almost like 15 to 20. So doing 9 like normal reps for bench, or like for bench work or other like free weights, I probably would consider like 6 to 8, anywhere in that range. So I think, from 8 to 10, that 9 pocket is almost for like kind of like a transition weight. And so 165 is definitely a transition weight for me. One that I'm comfortable enough with to like think that 9 is doable. So yeah, that's kind of like my breakdown mentally of how I kind of categorize my sets. So, but that's kind of a little nerding out about the gym. The reality is, just need to move this for 9 reps, feel out every rep in my chest before I move on to 180. Okay, happy with that warm-up. Felt like I got really good pushes, really good fight within some of the ladder reps. Stuff that I didn't really expect, stuff that will make me more confident going into 180. Okay, 180 is definitely going to be a little bit slower than anything I've done so far. 180 is something, and 185 honestly, to that end, is something that I've done a lot on Smith machine, but actually free weights, I only have really done it mostly assisted before, when I've had max or when I've had some sort of other spotter. So gauging 180 is going to be more of a personal thing based on how far I think I can go with the weight. So, but with the confidence that Smith machine gives me, it really is kind of like a mental wall that I end up fighting more than anything. And so I think getting past that mental wall will be a lot easier now that I've had a bunch of practice. But still, try to move it for maybe target like 7 or 8-ish. 8 is the very, very hopeful goal. But I just have to see how much strength I have to really push it more than I think I can. Okay, I had to take a pause in between, but I think this is definitely the right weight for me. I think keeping training it is the good course for me to go on. And, I still managed 8 reps, so progress is progress, win is a win. So I feel like one of the issues I'm having once I get to those high reps is I'm still struggling with the weight distribution, the weight balance between my dominant hand and my non-dominant hand. I feel like my right hand takes over. Regardless of if stuff is balanced on the side, I feel like it's just my left chest isn't as developed as my right one is. And so I've done stuff in the past to try and get it up, tried to do like a bunch of single arm work, and I think I'm just going to have to keep consistently doing that to get my chest to like a level that I'm happy with, to get my left chest kind of matching my right. I don't know why my right has... It's not by much. It's very slight. It's maybe 5 pounds, maybe a 5-pound difference between the two, but it's significant enough to cause like a slight tilt in the bar that I'm not happy with. So I think I'm just going to have to consistently work on training that left one. And like, they're doing the same weight, but my left arm needs a little bit more focus than my right does to make things even. So for the rest of the workout, I'm going to keep that in mind, trying to have my left be the primary focus. But 165 for 8 or for 9 on this, and then transition to 155 for the ladder down. As much as my log says, I don't know what it says, and then on to the rest of the workout. Okay, solid reps, solid reps. Happy with that. Should be happy with 155. All right, 155. It's gonna be a really easy way down. Check my log real quick. Yeah, I have 10 reps on here, and I think 10 reps is pretty doable, honestly, in my opinion. I mean, today on my log, I have the most overall weight I've pressed in like a single time of bench press so far, maybe within like the last 6 months of my log. So we're doing a lot today. We're doing a lot more than honestly you'd expect that I've done, because I've done a lot of static holds. I've done heavier, but in terms of sheer volume, it's a lot put on my chest. So I'm very interested in how that'll affect the rest of the workout, if I'll have better or worse progress on other things like incline and yada yada. But this is the very beginning of the week. I have the most energy pumped into my system after a weekend of good rest. So it just remains to be seen. All right, good control on that. Good end to everything. Very ready to transition to the next thing. So the funny part about dumbbell shrugs is that actually combined these 80-pound dumbbells weigh just about as much as me. So getting them moved is a little bit of a feat, but I moved them over to the side mirror so I could have better focus and kind of like look at how far I'm shrugging upwards. I want to make sure I have a good frame of my physique as I do these and make sure like I'm able to look dead on and just see how much form I'm sacrificing for certain things. So with the 80s, the goal is 12. Managed it last time. Not sure how I'll manage it this time, but it's a little earlier in the workout compared to how I did last time, so I think it'll actually be much better than I think. Okay, failed that last rep, so I'll put it in as 11 on the log and try to do a little bit better next set. Last set of digging really deep on dumbbell shrugs, and it really is kind of about how I've wrapped my hands in the beginning. I found that you can have varying degrees of strength as you pull up and stuff, but if I could have some type of magical wrist wrap to help me get the weight just tied onto my wrist, just almost like wrapped around and not able to drop, like I know I could put not wrist straps, put lifting straps and just kind of like try it, and that might help a little bit, but you still have like a chance of dropping it and stuff. Whereas like with other stuff, it helps a little bit more than just on a strict dumbbell. But it's about, can I manage the holding of the weight? And that's almost just as important, because with these, with carrying strength, you don't want to like drop boxes as you're carrying them. When you're trying to lift up boxes, when you're like a mover, you're going to have to make sure you have a good grip on like boxes and stuff. Just the same way, I want to have a good grip on dumbbells. It's just the same, even though you think it's different. Like, why are we lifting? What carries over from lifting to outside stuff? How am I going to like lift heavy things for my family when I get older if I can't even get a good grip on these dumbbells and stuff? So I have to be training that. Even though I could carry more, if I had another person with me, I could carry more of these things if I had like double the grip, but I'm not needing double the grip. I need to double my own grip. I don't need to rely on anything that's like, gonna almost handicap me in a way. Lifting is meant to be hard. It's meant to put force on my carrying strength. So why don't I just train my carrying strength to be revolved around that? All right, just enough to grind out 12 reps for 2 of the sets. So 2 out of the 3, making all 12. Pretty happy considering I only dropped off 1 rep from last time, and that was just because of the force of, me not being used to carrying this stuff. So much better mindset to go forward. Now I think capable crossovers might be next. I don't know if the camera's gonna show up pretty accurately, but I went to bed some of the days these weeks, and I forgot to wash my face some, so I've got a lot of acne going on that I'm gonna have to treat and deal with once I get back to the dorm, which, it sucks, but I keep accidentally scratching it while I'm like setting up for workouts and stuff, which I need to stop. I need to like go back and just not touch my face so much when I'm working out, because that honestly leads me to have more acne sometimes. But you know, acne is just a lifelong battle that you got to deal with. It. You got to figure out what helps out the best and what are your triggers. And I think what my trigger was is I had a bunch of stuff with milk over this weekend, and milk seems to trigger more acne in me than like anything else. I feel like when I have dairy and stuff especially, or anything that's like really greasy, it really triggers stuff for me. Because back when I had my cut, when I was eating like clean and didn't do any fried foods, no sugar, that's another one. If stuff has a bunch of sugar, acne like crazy. When I completely cut out sugars, I had like almost next to none, next to no acne, literally, when I was on my cut, which almost felt like a miracle. But that's what it is. If you have clean eating and you eat whole foods and you eat stuff that's like good for you, you're not going to have acne like you think you are. But that's just a little side tangent. Before I lock into these cable crossovers, 40 for 10 reps, all 3 sets. Left foot forward to kind of focus on my left arm like I was saying earlier. And I will lead with my left arm on incline later, so let's see it. Okay, very happy with that starter set. Second set, just gonna speed things up a little bit more so I can have more time to talk and set up with incline dumbbell press. I feel like I've got more to say about that than I do some of these other exercises, but dips and then this will be pretty straightforward, just kind of managing the same weight that I've managed before. They're not deeply difficult, they're just more about like managing my energy and stuff that I put into it. So yeah, I feel like this set, having left foot facing forward both times, it's gonna, I don't know, like, I try not to have a tilt, I try to be dead on, but sometimes if I tilt a little bit, like my left arm will have more of like a cross than my right arm does, and maybe that helps something, because usually I have right foot facing forward, and maybe that might be causing my muscle imbalance. I don't really know. I need to figure out potential ways that I'm getting that imbalance other than like what hand is dominant. So let's see second set. All right, good second set. I'm really happy with that. Okay, with tricep dips, not to the point where I'm going to reintroduce the weighted vest yet, but still trying to manage a really high rep body weight stuff for this, and so 15 is what I've been able to manage the first set for a while now. But last time I laddered down with how consistent I was with it, I managed 15 and then 14 and then 13 all in a row. I went back and hit 15 for all of them, which I will do the same today, but consistently, I want to move everything up 1 rep except that top one. I want to get 15 first set, like I did last time, but then I want to move 14, that second set, up to 15 this time, and then, you know, likewise with last set, 13 up to 14. So it's going to go 15 reps, 15 reps, 14 reps. Almost getting me to a consistent 15 all the way throughout, but that still takes some time. For now, just trying to manage 15 consistent good reps. All right, pretty even, pretty controlled. Want to replicate that for second set. Now I just want 14 reps. 14 good solid reps. Not much rest, just went and got some water. But I was able to manage the first two within my expectations. I feel like digging as hard as possible for 14 is there. Like 14 is there. It's just going to be, once you get out of the bottom half of those reps, how hard can you push up to the top? That's the only thing standing in my way. Come on. Whew, I needed more rest for this. 3 more. One more. Okay. Very, very scrappy last set. Still got a lot of room to go before I grow past that, but take a better rest next time. All right. What I want for this last part of the workout is incline dumbbells to be very, very consistent. I have a problem about consistency with these. And so in order to pad that out, I don't want to set expectations super, super high. I just want 8 quality reps. 8 quality reps of 60 and keep that consistent through all 3 sets. No changes, no anything, no going more even if I think I can. Setting everything right here and just going as much as possible. I think it's doable. So we'll just have to see how this breathing goes and see if the high volume with, flat bench, if that affected anything on this movement. Okay, first set, really, really good. Now it's just making sure the other sets look exactly like that. All right, let's get it. 8 reps. I'm feeling very confident. In what I've been doing, and I'm feeling very confident in, just ending the workout strong. I feel like I'm going to have a really good day today. A good day in class. Got all this homework finished. Got all this energy ready to go for second week of school, second week of lifting. I feel like raring to go. Might not feel like this every week, but I'm taking advantage of it while I have it. work with it. Dumbbells, I feel like they're coming easy. Maybe it's just the positive energy going through my veins, but hey, it's helping a lot. Oh, definitely gonna need a good clean shave after the workout. I'm ready for a hot shower, maybe even a cold shower, depending on how warm it is outside. Once I walk out, I'm pretty hot right now, but I need that heat to kind of get all the reps moving well, and I'm looking at all the pumps and stuff right now, and I'm feeling it. This has been a really, really good chest day. It's gonna be hard to top with back and biceps tomorrow, but I'll be ready for that. I'll be ready. Have a good day of classes and stuff today, and then we'll see how everything is. I'll have to cut it to a good talk after everything I go through today. Let you know, recap how everything went. But last set, little talking, more action, 8 good reps. All right, 8 complete reps. That marks a good workout. As you can see, I'm very hot, very sweaty. Later in the day, I've gotten a shower and stuff, but I just played basketball for about 30 minutes, so I'm pretty tired. Got like light cardio in. I like getting the light stuff kind of in and out of the way, so I can kind of just, I don't know, decompress and get some calories out before I go to dinner. So yeah, campus is pretty active today. A lot of stuff going on. I got a lot of homework and a lot of different things out of the way, and now it's just it's up to like editing the rest of the video and getting stuff done. I'm starting to get like first projects and stuff, so that's kind of where most of my time has been. And so like starting up YouTube, it's very exciting, it's very enthralling. I'm very happy to be back to campus and back to getting, filming and stuff out. But sometimes it can be a little bit stressful as stuff builds up. But obviously I'm taking care of myself. Obviously, I'm gauging and putting stuff on the back burner when I need to, and then going full throttle when I have the time and energy to do so. But also that's kind of what I kind of want to talk about today as this video ends, is just like burnout, feeling when the time is right to go ham and when the time is right to kind of get off the gas pedal. Because as I've been reconnecting with a bunch of friends and stuff, it's pretty clear that going into the first semester, people are worried about burnout, because it hasn't set in yet, but like the amount of work that just gets dumped on you as you go back in, if you're not equipped to handle it, some people just like crash and burn really hard. Some people get really bad marks on their first couple of exams, or they're overloaded with some new job that they're trying to do while they're paying off school and stuff. And you might relate. You might relate to, not just specifically the gym, not just specifically stuff going on, but like even by virtue of getting this far, you've put a lot of effort into watching a YouTube video, and I'm sure that's probably to decompress. I'm sure that's probably to get your mind off of things, or just, tune into something else. And, that really reveals to me the fact of like how escapism is so potent. Like, I do it too, for sure. I find myself going to these random corners of the internet to get myself away. I found myself playing video games. I don't watch movies that much, but sometimes I get really into a good movie. Good books, especially. I need to get a new book soon. But like that escapism, it's something we all fight against, because it's something that is unique to every one of our experiences. You aren't going to find the same escapism enthralling as someone else might. But that simple fact of having something to kind of like spin off of and put time and energy into and kind of unwind into, it takes you away out of the concerns of your daily life. And I think that's very powerful, but I think that can be dangerous in some mechanisms. And it reveals like you might be afraid of something. You might be kind of pushing back against something, and that's something that you kind of need to have self-reflection with sometimes. You kind of need to put yourself in the middle of what's going on and be like, okay, what is this barrier that's like stopping me
from getting to what I want? What is this escapism that's dragging me away instead of just opening that gate and kind of being deadlocked on what I want? That's a really weird hand analogy with the camera, but you know what I'm talking about. You know, like, if you have a job that you don't like, or if you have a weird messed up relationship that you're trying to avoid with like family or friends or something, if you have, you know, a bunch of papers that you know you need to get started on, but you can't even seem to like get yourself onto it, what is the barrier stopping you? Do you need to find new work to satiate you? Do you need to meet your family and schedule conversations in them to get to where you want? Do you need to just write even one page, even write one paragraph, one sentence, get something out there to meet your goals? You have to like be able to take that first step. And I think that's what a lot of people discount is, you know, I've been hearing so much advice lately for a bunch of stuff that I've been consuming, escapism and, you know, trying to lean in business-wise when it's not even escapism, when it's stuff I want to, you know, use to help grow the channel. It's people saying you can't shy away from the hard battles. The hard battles are what make you. And the tasks that you don't want to do, sometimes if you just put yourself into a uniquely positive situation, it can really get you locked back into that mindset. And, you know, that's the advice, is that people are saying, like, you have to just take the first step, you know, and it's, I don't know if it's corny, because some stuff I'll call out on its corniness, but this right here is very, very true. When I read and like consume this content that says the athlete will never make fun of you for trying, you know, like a gymnast would never make fun of you for trying to do a handstand for the first time. Stockbroker isn't going to make fun of you for buying your first random stock. The super successful fitness influencer, and this is a little bit more personal example, isn't going to make fun of you for attaching this camera onto a jerry-rig car system and just straight up talking to the camera. No one's going to make fun of you for that first step, because guess what took them to the point that they're at now? It's not like stuff gets gifted to them. Think about it. Even if you're rich beyond your wildest dreams, you have everything you want, everything is handed to you, you have full success, you still are going to have to work hard to maintain that, to even have the ability to do something with what is given to you. And that's something that people have to, you know, count their blessings with, literally. Not in a religious way, but in a very real way. You are in the greatest time that you could possibly be in, and you've been given a lot. You've been given the power of the internet. You've been given the power of the connections at your fingertips. You've been given the power of whatever location you're in, good or bad. You know, you might be in completely flat, desert, isolated lands. So make something of that with some type of artistic choice. Maybe you can paint it. Maybe you can film some type of like video there. Maybe you can go out and just like lay out and enjoy it. Like, think about it. That's what, you know, beach vacations are for people. It's escapism. People go to the beach because it represents something that's away from their daily lives. But if you live on a beach house right next to the beach, you're not going to consider it true escapism. You're not going to consider it truly special, like someone who might live in Alaska, who's never seen a beach like that before. You're not going to consider all the blessings unless you're really someone who takes yourself out of it. Some days I don't like getting up and going to class. Sometimes it feels like the worst thing in the world. I'm in the middle of stuff yawning, and, you know, even now when it's just starting, I'll catch a few yawns here and there. But I know I'm so blessed to be in this position to get an education, and I worked really hard to be there. It's not like it was just gifted to me. I had to bust my butt for stuff. I had to make really good grades, and I had to, you know, be a good person on top of that, getting myself to this level. Colleges don't just accept, you know, I'm not going to call it mediocrity, because some people can definitely get by on that. But to be an exceptional person, people aren't going to just take you at face value of being like, well, I exist. Why don't I get a prize for that? Like, showing up is the most important thing you can do. But if you just show up and you're just like there, you're just a lamppost of something, that isn't going to propel you far enough to reach a really high dream ceiling. And if your dream is to just kind of go through the motions of stuff, great. I'm happy. Keep showing up, keep going through those motions. But I reckon that most everyone, you especially, probably have some big goal in the back of your mind. It doesn't need to be stratospheric, like I want to be president, I want to be the richest person in the world. It doesn't have to be something astronomical like that, but it could be. And even if it's something small, it's going to take you more than one step to be there. So you have to realize that you have to take multiple steps, and you have to be willing to not push that gate aside, not tear that gate down, but push hard and open it to unlock that path. And I'm not going to act like I have that perfectly figured out. I'm still in the process of learning and growing and figuring out how to get there. But eventually one day I'm going to look back and be like, I'm doing okay. And even if I don't, I'm content in the lifelong pursuit of that goal. It's not, it's that saying, one must imagine Sisyphus happy. One must imagine that pushing that boulder up, and maybe never seeing the peak, you have to be content with that. You have to be sure of yourself, and you have to be happy with life, happy with what you've been given. And to me, I understand why there are pessimists out there, but a pessimistic mindset 24/7, 365, a meaninglessness to life, I don't think is the answer. At least not for me. I can't find a meaninglessness that could push me towards my goals. I can't find a meaninglessness that is positive or beneficial other than the fact that you have every tool at your fingertips. Who cares what you do? The only meaninglessness that I feel could even serve a purpose is the fact that this is a sandbox. Go out, do what you want, create what you want, never take no for an answer, and just keep going. Just keep going. I know that's a really long-winded and kind of multiple paths crossing metaphor to kind of discuss what my situation is or to try to be motivating and uplifting, but that's just simply what's on my mind right now. I felt like I had a really good workout today. I pushed really, really hard, but I'm also pushing just as hard as in my mental battles and my personal struggles, and I think those are what define me even more than, how much I might rep out on bench press, even though I'm trying to improve that too. So, small wins, keep collecting them, realize that all it takes is one step, one word, one paragraph, one email, one connection, one hope, one dream, one love, anything that is minuscule to open up to greater, futures. That's a lot, but I hope you go into the world with that knowledge and do something great with it, and I'll catch you in the next video. Bye-bye.